I did it. I've watched slash read all of Berserk. I have just finished and caught up to one of the most incredible stories in fiction I've ever had the pleasure of witnessing, or in this case, specifically reading. So, yeah, I got done. I completed Berserk, caught up to the latest chapter of the manga, and this video will never do justice to Berserk. I'm not even trying to, like, you know, be respectable towards, Berserk, be honorable enough to talk about it. No, because I'll never be. A person like me will never be, you know, honorable or will ever do justice to Berserk, like presenting it, or be nuanced, or be original. No. I'm just gonna give my opinion, what I think of the mangaka, the writer, and the story, everything from top to bottom, and the shortest amount of time possible. So yeah, if you're looking for something extraordinary, new, original, or never heard before, unfortunately, you'll be disappointed in me, in this channel, in this video. I'm just here to have some fun, and sometimes be existential and philosophical. By sometimes I mean always. So yeah. Anyway, Berserk. So 2 months ago, presumably 2 months ago, let's say 3 months ago, I, decided on a whim, because I had nothing better to do, to watch the 1997 anime Berserk with my father as well. He wanted to watch it with me, and I was like, okay, maybe now is a good time to finally see what's all the praise about. Of course, everybody was telling me, read the manga, you imbecile! How dare you give a chance to an anime adaptation of Berserk? You absolute psychopath! Oh my god, how dare you! The manga is so better, it's so better, how dare you insult us in such a way! And it's like, okay, dude, okay. Listen, everybody has its preferences. I've never read manga, comics, or anything of the sort in my life. So it's only natural for me to watch something more, to experience at this stage, something more close to me, like an anime, because I've watched previous animes before, watching Berserk. So I was like, okay. People said the 1997 adaptation was the best I could do with an anime adaptation. So I went and gave it a chance. Wow. It was one of the best shows I've ever watched. And people were dunking on it, saying it's not as good as the manga, it's like this, it's like that. Like, okay, even so, the story, everything, the characters, the moments, the emotional moments of Berserk 1997, more specifically, were incredible. The show started very slow. The first episode was like, okay, huh? An edgy, like, fucking buff guy with a massive sword killing demons? Okay, we've never seen that before, and that's definitely very, very smart writing, of course. I was like, okay, is that all? Is that all Berserk is about, really? And after the first episode ends, it was like, okay, we go back in time for some reason. We go like when this guy was like late teenager or something, like 18, 19. Okay, that's okay, a flashback. That's nice. Well, it turns out that the whole rest of the show was a flashback arc. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Let's see where this goes. Watched the second episode. Still not impressed. I thought it was okay. I thought it was good. We got introduced to Casca, the Band of the Hawk, and of course, Griffith. Anyway, we got introduced to some important characters, but I didn't know they were important watching it for the first time. I was like, okay, these are people the main character will probably spend time with. Yes, that's what I thought. Anyway, as I was watching the show, going on and on and on and on, I was like, okay, this progressively gets better. the moment where I was fully invested in Berserk was like episode 5 or 6, where Zod the Immortal appears out of nowhere. My cat is harassing me right now. Why are you doing this to me? Here he is, doing the most annoying things possible. Anyway, sorry for an interruption. So, the episode, wherever that episode may be, 5 or 6, I'm not sure. The episode where Zod the Immortal comes in was when I fully started grasping why Berserk was interesting and very, very praised. It had such a massive following. I was like, okay, I like where this is going. From a medieval fucking knights, bands, groups, armies, and it turns out to be fucking fantasy as well. A fucking massive demon coming in the mix as well. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Interesting, I'm into it. The show continued. Then a certain moment came where Guts had to kill the child. And that was the moment I was like, oh, fuck. That broke my soul. That was like the first absolute impalement to my heart. I was like, wow, that's such a shame, dude. Such a fucking shame. It was one of the most emotional scenes in anything, dude. I was so fucking shocked by it. And Guts was too. I mean, he did it. He was, at the next scene, he was like, he couldn't even talk. He could barely hold his sword. It was like very emotionally draining. And that was another scene in the anime where I was like, wow, Jesus Christ, this is something special. We got something here. We got something to work with. So the story went on and on and on. I was getting more invested into the characters, more interested into the story and the universe. So much stuff happened. The show made some twists and turns. I'm not gonna talk too much about the anime, but all I can say is that the characters were great. The story felt natural. Everything felt real. It didn't feel fake. It didn't feel pretentious. It didn't feel plot convenient. It just felt real, and you really witnessed a story, an experience. So, if anything, Berserk is not a story, not a fucking script. It's an experience. You don't read, you don't watch, you feel Berserk. Deep inside your heart, deep inside your soul, deep inside your emotions. This is where Berserk stays with you. It's not the most cleverly written, most nuanced original story of all time, and that's not the point. The point is to resonate with you. And it did. It did so much. And not only to me, to so many people. But anyway, the anime got so much better towards the end. I was like, fuck, where is this going? Griffith being imprisoned for raping Charlotte? I mean, we expected that. Guts defeating Griffith and being on his own, so many moving parts, and then, Guts gets, spoilers, by the way, massive, everywhere. If you haven't read or watched Berserk, then don't bother watching this video by now. You already know this, but anyway. So yeah, they get reunited with the Band of the Hawk, Guts and, Casca, and they set off to free Griffith, to save him. Little did they know, this guy had other missions, had other plans for them. He finally used that Behelit, and one of the most insane events in fiction occurred. You may already know it. If you've not watched it, you most certainly heard it somewhere. By memes, somebody telling you, on the internet, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere. The eclipse happens. The eclipse. Literal hell happens onto these characters. The characters you spend so much time with, so much development. They were all likable, apart from Corcus. They were all relatable, apart from Corcus. And they're all very good, apart from Corcus. And, you really felt for most of them, apart from Corcus. And when everyone, and I mean everyone, apart from Casca, which I'll get into later, everyone gets brutally maimed, killed, And in Kasuka's situation, raped nearly to death. Fuck. This was insane. I was literally I wasn't I didn't get spoiled on the eclipse. I liked Griffith for the most of the show. Yeah. Look at me, how stupid must have I looked when this happened. And somehow I saw it coming. Yeah, I expected something horrible to happen. I didn't expect a happy ending. And I most certainly wasn't getting that. Anyway, the show ends in the most insulting way possible. And at this point, you could not stop with the anime. You must continue reading the manga. In my case, that was it. But anyway, whew. The ending ends with Kasuga getting brutally raped by Griffith while Guts was pinned by fucking monsters and forced to watch the love of his life getting absolutely fucking thrashed by Griffith. How do you think he must have felt, huh? Yeah, I don't think he was very feeling it. I don't think he was very in the vibe in that moment. But yeah, nonetheless, he tried to stop Griffith, his arm was, grabbed by the monsters, and then he didn't even bother fighting them. He was like cutting his arm off to reach Griffith faster. That failed, of course, miserably. Then he gets rescued by Skull Knight, and yeah, that's pretty much where the anime ends. And this is the point where you ask yourself, what do I do with my life? Do I stop Berserk, think of a made-up ending in my head, and leave it where it is? Or should I continue reading the manga, see where the story actually goes, and maybe do yourself a favor of witnessing one of the greatest stories ever told in fiction? I chose the second option. Duh. I started reading. I was like conflicted on making a video after I watched the 1997 anime, making a review on it, thoughts, everything, opinions. But then I said, wow, nah. I'm gonna get some people really fucking fired up for now reading the manga. I was like, okay, I'm gonna read the manga, the greatest manga of all time, apparently. My first manga, I don't know of how many. I'm planning to read Vagabond, so I'll talk about that too when I eventually get to doing it. But anyway, I don't know, the first of how many mangas so far, the best one by far. It being the only one that is. But anyway, yes, I did not. So the Golden Age arc, which was basically the whole anime, was a 10 out of 10 arc in my opinion, one of the greatest arcs in fiction. I was like, nothing can ever reach that, right? To be honest, I prefer some arcs in the manga more than the Golden Age arc. That's me. That's me. But I prefer the darkness. Anyway, after the anime ends, after the whole fucking events happen, Kasuka is traumatized. She lost all of her memory. Guts is fucking traumatized. He has PTSD. Literal hellfire rains upon the world. Like the eclipse opens up a whole portal of demons, monsters, evil beings onto the world. And I was like, okay, from a medieval fantasy, this turned into a proper dark fantasy. Literally, so much change. The style of the show just shifted completely into being a fucking non-stop dark drama. So yeah, Guts at this point swears revenge on the whole demon kind, and he'll fight them to his last breath. And of course, you don't want him to suffer anymore, but he's going to suffer so much because of the path he's gonna walk into. Anyway, I'm not gonna talk specifically about spoilers from this point on. This was my mini review of the 1997 anime. From now on, I'll be explaining my thoughts on each arc and my favorite characters, basically. Anyway, after that point, we get into the Lost Children chapter, which is in the Conviction arc. For me, the Lost Children chapter is interesting because so many people apparently really hated it and thought it was filler. I see why. I see why you would think that it was filler. I would obviously disagree with you because it depends on what you think filler is. If you think filler is missing or not mentioning the main plot of the story, which is Guts, hopefully getting revenge on Griffith, then yes, the Lost Children chapter is filler. But if you think that character progression, character development, character moments, character changing is part of the main plot and is as important as the main plot, then yes, the Lost Children chapter is not a filler. It just depends on what group you are in. That's basically it. I'm in the second one. I do think that character progression is very visceral to the main plot, and both are equally important. One with the other just completes each other. Yes, this story, this part lacks the other, lacks the main part. But for character progression, character moments, moments in general, Lost Children chapter was incredible. 10 out of 10. The feeling, the mystical feeling of the story of Picard, the fucking evil fairies or elves attacking the villagers, Rosine, her story, how she has an abusive parents and she wants to go into the elf dimension and be with her friend who turned into an elf, and Guts is caught in the middle of it, and so it's just so incredible. There's so many incredible moments in this. I was like, okay, I don't care if this doesn't involve Griffith, Kosk, or anything that involves Guts. I'm just interested in the story, or of what is going on, basically. And interested I was after it ends. Then, after this chapter ended, I was like, okay, I see what Berserk is all about. I see why this manga is called a masterpiece of storytelling. I get it now. But after this is where the main story continues. You meet Farnese or Farnese. You get caught up in the Holy Iron Chain Knights. And let me talk about Farnese a little bit. Farnese, I'm gonna call it Farnese because I prefer Farnese. I don't like Farneses. Titus, the same thing. But anyway, Farnese has one of the greatest character developments in fiction. That's my opinion. From her being like a tired ass, fucking annoying, religious, cultish, voodoo, fucking believing bitch who is always a threat to Guts, and obviously you're gonna oppose her because she's a threat to Guts, and Guts is one of the greatest fucking characters in fiction. But anyway, as the story moves on, you meet more characters in the conviction arc. You meet Isidoro. Puck gets more development. Puck, by the way, is the best character in Berserk, of course. Griffith, Guts, Casca. Puck is the OG, and Puck is the best character. Comedic relief is the most important thing in a show. Breaking Bad had Saul. Berserk has Puck. Puck is amazing. I loved Puck. Every single moment Puck is in the frame, I'm wow, fuck, amazing. I'm laughing my ass off. Just I can't keep a straight face when I'm looking at Puck. And not many characters can make me laugh, depressed, bipolar person like me. Puck made me very happy, basically. Anyway, the conviction arc involved just Guts wandering aimlessly, just fighting demons, getting in situations. And to be honest, I really like that style of hopelessness, of darkness, of you don't know what's gonna be in the next fucking corner. But then he realized, I gotta protect what's important to me. I gotta help. The only thing that's left that for me in this world, and that is of course Casca. Even though she is mentally broken, she is the only one who has still somewhat connection to Guts and is still alive, so he decided to leave this path of rampage and help her. Oh, he goes back to check up on her, and she's gone, waiting to be burned at the fucking stake for being a witch for some reason. And what does he do? He wants to save Casca, naturally. Things happen, a lot of fights, an insane fucking cult church leader Father Moses with I called him Great Head. Yeah, his head was fucking grated. He was like, I don't know how to tell. You know what I mean if you read the manga. Father Moses was a beast, an insane fucking guy. And you know, he turned into a demon. He was an imposter after all. Gods fought him. A lot of carnage. A lot of fucking insane shit. And then Griffith is reborn. Wow, that's basically me summing up the conviction arc. Griffith is being reborn into himself again. And then the arc ends. The conviction arc in of itself is, for some people, not very main plotish, but for me it was very visceral, very real, very dark, and I really liked the conviction arc, which I will give a 10 out of 10 to. I don't think there's a single arc in Berserk that is below a 10 out of 10. But anyway, then we go into my favorite arc in the show, the Millennium Falcon arc. The arc begins with a bang. Griffith sitting across the grave of his ex-comrades, standing there and saying, interesting, I don't feel anything right now. Him just saying, interesting, I'm an absolute cunt. I'm an absolute asshole right now. That's awesome. And he's like, you know, celebrating. I mean, what a dick. Anyway. And then Guts goes berserk. The berserking time. And then he, you know, tries to fight him, but then Zod, the Immortal, comes in, and he's trying to defend Griffith and all this shit. This is how the arc begins. What follows is, for me, the best part in the whole Berserk storyline, so far at least, of Guts, he was into, he was put into a crossroads, going after Griffith, seeking revenge, or protecting Casca and leading her to safety. I was literally on my knees begging for him to choose leading Casca in safety, because I knew if he would go to Griffith, he would die. Anyway, the story continues. He gets entangled with Serpico, one of the loyal men that Farnese had the pleasure of being with. Then they go on an adventure together into the unknown. Farnese seeking attention from Guts, as you would, and basically searching yourself for your place in the world. A lot of things happen, and I do believe that Millennium Falcon arc is the best arc in the whole show. Then the the Fantasia arc happens, where Griffith is literally the leader of the world. He's conquered everything. He's solving the problems he caused by himself, by literally starting the eclipse and being literally the greatest and most visceral presence in the whole Midland region, or even beyond that, the world we know, the world. Kintaro Muira, I don't know how to say his name, created. And yes, the Fantasia arc as well, which is still going on, I don't think it's ended, is basically giving you hope, giving you happiness, lots of it, and then all getting snatched away in a blink of an eye. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but because it's recent, the chapters came out recently, but it was so heartbreaking to see all the things happen at the end of the Fantasia arc. It was truly excruciatingly horrible for Guts and for everyone around him. You know if you read it, so I'm not gonna spoil it. Anyway, now going, I did a complete overview of the arcs. I think Guts as a main character is second or third. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's the third best main protagonist, main character, in any show I've ever watched. Of course, in second place is Lelouch and Code Geass, and in first place is Gintoki from Gintama. So being close to these legends is a task, and he completed it. I related so much to Guts because he didn't understand his place in the world. He didn't understand where he was, what he was doing, where he was going. he just felt emotional pain, sadness, and they call him the struggler. I'm struggling every day too. But anyway, I related to Guts in a lot of ways, and I think he's an incredible main character that has a lot of development. You just follow all of his life from beginning to right now, and it's an experience more than a story. That's what Berserk is. Yeah, characters I loved, characters I liked. Serpico, Varnice, of course, having incredible development. Roderick, I liked Roderick a lot. The ship captain, he was very awesome as well. Isidoro, Monkey Boy, Puck, Yzma, even though she met a tragic end. She just disappeared into thin air. But anyway, why am I laughing? A lot of stuff happened. Anyway, basically, yeah, these characters, and of course Griffith. Griffith did nothing wrong. It depends on how you look at it. Do the means justify the ends? Or do they not? I'm on obviously the side where saying Griffith sucks. I hate Griffith. But I gotta admit, he is the second greatest antagonist in fiction after Johann Liebert from Monster. He's like the second best villain of all time. His character is incredible. He always planned to sacrifice his friends for his dream. Any means necessary just to achieve his dream, his kingdom. That's what he set out for. And to be honest, he got it for any means necessary. That's what the band of the Hawk believed. He is an honorable man who cared for them. And probably he did. But at the end of the day, the dream is of most importance to him. And he sacrificed all of his band, all of his friends. And yeah, that's basically it. He wanted dominance, he wanted power. And he got it. He's an incredible villain, incredible character. But boy oh boy, do I fucking hate it, his guts, by the end of the story. So yeah, Berserk is one of the greatest stories of fiction ever told. I've caught up to the manga now, I can easily say this. And now I understand the pain of manga readers, of never having a quality anime adaptation after the 1997 one. Of course, Berserk's 2016. I haven't watched it. I'll never watch it in my life because I saw a lot of clips of it, and let's say it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a Berserk countdown happening, which I hope there will be an anime adaptation reveal, covering all the story from beginning to currently. I hope. I was reading. I was like, oh my god, this could be so good, so much better if it was an anime. The whole manga reading experience sucked, but the story just kept me going. The characters kept me reading, and I was enthralled by it. And I don't think anything else can make me do an exception for reading a manga, if it isn't indeed Berserk. Berserk is an experience. Berserk is something that will always stick with you after rereading it or watching it, which I wholeheartedly recommend you doing so. Yeah. There's some people on the internet who are saying that Berserk is crap or overrated. Let's say I disagree with these people, simply put. Anyway, thank you for watching the next anime review. As I said in the Hunter x Hunter review, will probably be Bleach. I'm watching Bleach currently, and I'll be finishing the OG Bleach anime and giving my thoughts on it when I finish it eventually. If we're talking about manga, I'm gonna be reading Vagabond. Yep, I'll be reading Vagabond, and I'll be giving my thoughts on it after I've caught up. Because also, like Berserk, Vagabond does not have an ending. It just stopped. And of course, Berserk will continue. There will be a new chapter. There will be a new chapter in December, which I'll review. I'll talk about it when it airs. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't I? And of course, I'm not gonna end this video without giving all of my thanks to the legend Kintaro Muyura. I don't know how to say his surname. I'm sorry, but he is really a genius, an incredible person for what I've heard, and if I to judge by what he created, he deserves all the respect that he can get. And yeah, it's such a tragic thing that he died at such a young age too. It's, you know, what more can I say? It sucks. But he created something that will make him immortal. Even if he is not among us anymore, he'll always be remembered just by creating a legendary story like Berserk. That's what I believe, at least. Giving a rating to Berserk, of course, a 10 out of 10. Legendary, legendary, legendary. And yeah, that's pretty much it. See you in the next anime, manga, video game walkthrough, video game review, anything on my channel. Read or watch Berserk. And yeah, fellow strugglers, we will struggle and move on. Come with me.